I'd like to call the Northborough School Committee meeting of Wednesday, September 4th, 2019 into session. The first order of business that we have tonight on our agenda is going to jump right into it, going to action on the meeting minutes. So,
Madam Chair, I move to accept the Northborough School Committee open meeting minutes from Wednesday, June the 5th, 2019, as stated.
I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? All right, motion passes. The next order of business is new business, back to school opening, so I'll turn it over to Superintendent Martineau.
So it's hard to believe that today is the 5th day of the 2019-2020 school year. It feels like we've been in session for much longer. But I must tell you that it's great to have our 1,584 students return, because our schools are very empty without them, and very boring places without them. So they bring the school to life. On August 26th, teachers returned back to school. We gathered as 3 districts, 10 schools, 1 community of learners at Algonquin Regional High School. And it was a great opportunity to connect as educators and connect as 3 districts and launch the school year. Teachers have done a really amazing job preparing classrooms, spaces for students. When you walk around the buildings, students are smiling. The classrooms look like spaces I'd want to spend time in. And it's really a testament to the high-quality educator that we have in our district. So I'd just like to thank teachers for their work. This evening, I'd like to introduce our district leadership team. It's important to note that we have a lot of people supporting the work at central office. And I want to introduce the key players at central office. We have some faces that are familiar and some new faces at the table as well. And then after introductions, we'll have the principals share their back-to-school reports, beginning with Principal Carp. So we'll start with Rhoda.
Rhoda Webb, Interim Assistant Superintendent.
Becky Pellegrino, Director of Finance and Operations.
Julie Doyle, Director of Instructional Technology and Digital Learning.
Mary Ellen Duggan, District Wellness Coordinator.
So Mary Ellen is not new to our district. She was the Woodward School nurse, so they were very upset that we recruited her for this position. So she's hit the ground running and has done a great job so far. So thank you, Mary Ellen.
Thank you. Marie Allen, Director of Student Support Services. Good evening. Heather Richards, Director of Human Resources.
And Heather is also a new face to the team. And Heather has a lot of human resource experience. She's also an attorney and brings a lot of expertise to our HR team. And she comes from the public schools of Newton. And so she went from 3,500 employees to 900, so she downsized quite a bit. So, and she's been terrific, so welcome, Heather.
Hello, I'm Jen Suger. I'm the Interim Director of English Language Education.
And Jen is also a familiar face to the leadership team. Jennifer was the ELD teacher at Algonquin Regional High School, and we've been watching her develop and grow, and she's been looking for a leadership opportunity, so it's great to have Jen join the team, so welcome. So, and at this time, turn it over to Michelle.
So I did bring some teachers tonight because we're going to present in a couple of minutes, just to give some updates about our new schedule and how that's working out. But before that, I did want to just report that we had a really smooth opening to the year. Have to thank Tom Madler and the custodial staff for getting the building ready for us, and Kathy Luby, who worked all summer to get student and teacher schedules. Today, we had 547 students, so from the time school ended until today, we had 16 students withdraw and 29 enroll. We have had a couple of students enroll just this week. We are excited about a couple of things coming up in September. Our open house is next Thursday. We're excited about that. That's from 6 to 8. And then on September 20th, author Anne Braden, who is the author of The Benefits of Being an Octopus, which was our all-school one read. We'll be visiting with students. So we're excited about that. We've been engaging in an all-school one read for years, and it is a nice way to start the year because all students share the same experience as do faculty and staff. So we're excited about that. So I will ask the 3 teachers that are here to come up.
Is she doing the budget now?
So, did want to take tonight to just again provide an update about some schedule and programming changes at Milliken for this year. As Superintendent Martineau commented, we are 5 days in, but we have a lot to share already. So, just an overview about the changes that we are implementing this year. We moved to a 7-period teaching day. In my time here at Milliken, this is my 23rd year, we have had an 8-period teaching day, so we saw a need for more instructional time with students in front of content area specialists, so we were able to move to a 7-period day. We implemented what is called flex block this year, so rather than students having directed study, we shifted to flex block, which is 20 minutes of silent reading, and we're going to talk more about that because it's very planful, and then 26 minutes of customized interventions for students who need them, and other options for students who maybe need different kinds of things. We added opportunities for literacy intervention this year, opportunities for math intervention, and we also shifted the delivery of our instrumental music instruction. So moving from an 8-period to a 7-period day gives teachers more teaching time with students, at least Monday through Thursday. On Friday, we already had a 7-period day, but Monday through Thursday now we do as well. We gained 6 to 7 more minutes per period. There are fewer disruptions to student learning, so there are fewer bells and fewer opportunities for students to be up and moving. In order to do this, we combined English and reading classes. We have had English and reading taught separately, and we have moved to teaching ELA by combining those two, which is what most middle schools have. Our 6th graders still have a separate reading class twice a week. Our flex block, as I mentioned, replaces study, and it happens opposite band and chorus. So if a student participates in band, he or she still has 2 flex blocks opposite when chorus meets. If a student participates in chorus, in 7th and 8th grade, that student would have 3 flex blocks if he or she did not participate in band. If students participate in both, which they get to do, then they do not have flex blocks in their schedule, unless they're in 6th grade, and then they have 1. So again, flex block is 20 minutes of independent reading. Students are reading and teachers are reading, and 26 minutes of student-specific support. By combining English and reading into ELA, along with a more cohesive delivery of instruction in ELA, we were able to form a literacy team, which after looking at data, we realized that we really needed. So I have here to talk a little bit about their work so far. Crystal Hare, Gretchen Bean, and Kim Senior. Combined, they have over 50 years of experience teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So they felt old when I told them about that, but it's pretty impressive. So they are experts in this area, and they've put a lot of work into this. And I am surprised that we're only 5 days in, because they've done a lot already. So I will turn it over to you.
I only need this one, so I'm giving this away
Okay.
to you. Hello, everyone. I want to start by thanking you for the opportunity to speak tonight. We are really excited about the work that we'll be doing this year, so it's great that we have an opportunity to share that with you. Our work as a literacy team actually stems from work that began last year at Milliken Middle School. There was an internal committee formed in the 2018-2019 school year that was sort of set up to explore what an what an intervention model might look like at the middle school level. And so we met on a regular basis, and we also participated in on-site visits to both Trotter Middle School and to Lincoln Street School. We observed classrooms, we met with teachers, and it really gave us some insight into what was happening elsewhere. We then continued our work over the summer. We spent a lot of time together over the summer, trying to really focus on what the needs of the students at Milliken would be. We do know that middle school students are not reading as much as they used to or as often as they used to, and that's not just at Milliken, that's really everywhere. So we wanted to focus on that. We also know that there is a population of general ed students who are not reading at grade level, so we want to address that. And lastly, we know that the Massachusetts curriculum standards demand literacy not just in ELA classrooms, but really across the board in all content areas. So we plan to help with all content areas. We're going to have a three-pronged approach, which you can see up here: intervention, engagement, and collaboration. And it's all set up to address our team mission, which is, in a nutshell, to improve student literacy achievement and engagement. And all of the work that we do will be data-driven, using literacy assessments such as the QRI test, benchmark writing test, and reading surveys. And so Crystal is going to speak a little bit more about intervention and what we plan to do with intervention.
So, as Kim said, we're very excited about this new role, and we have done a lot of work. And the first approach, the first prong of our approach is intervention. So the goal is that every student will be able to read a grade level text at the instructional level. And this means, it's a little wordy, but instructional level just means that's the level at which they can't necessarily access the text alone, but with the assistance of a teacher, they could access a grade level text. So if they're in a social studies class reading a 7th grade text, they will be able to access that text. And we know that if they can't, gaps show up in all content areas. So the way we're going to approach this intervention is to assess the students using the QRI 6, the newest edition of the Qualitative Reading Inventory. And based on the data we collect on every student, we will implement interventions if they're not proficiently reading at grade level. And the way we'll do this is through small group instruction and using some of the programs that are used in the district, such as Lexia Power Up. We have also received funding through the Northborough Education Foundation of a grant for our program that provides us with Fontes and Pinnell leveled books. So students can access even 3rd grade level books at the middle school, which previously they couldn't do, just because we didn't have access to that type of library. I think that's it with the intervention. The next part of our approach is engagement. So the goal here is to help students build productive reading habits and also to really foster enjoyment in reading, positive attitudes towards reading. So our survey is going to assess the students' attitude toward reading. Do they read in their free time? Do they enjoy it? What do they see? Do they see reading as a chore or a pleasure? And based on some of that information, we're going to open communication with students about choosing books they might like, interests that they have. Also, we're going to communicate with each student their reading level. So we'll get that information from the intervention, and we can talk to middle school students about books that are just right for them, that they can access and then they can enjoy and make reading something that they look forward to. Part of this also is the 20-minute reading expectation that Ms. Carb talked about. Every student is expected to read 5 days a week for 20 minutes. We're meeting with all the students in their ELA classes and working with ELA teachers to share this expectation with them and also have a digital tool so that they can be held accountable but also be excited about recording books that they've read, sharing recommendations with their classmates, and just responding to books that they've completed. Some of the other things that support this is our, actually I'm a little ahead of myself. One thing to consider, this is just a visual that is pretty astounding. If a student is to read 20 minutes a day over the course of a year, they are exposed to over 1 million words, 1,800,000 words. That student is exposed to so much vocabulary that it naturally begins setting into their either expressive vocabulary or receptive vocabulary. And if a student only reads 1 minute or less a day, their exposure to words is only 8,000 per year. So we understand that this 20 minutes may be a stretch for some students, might be brand new. Some students, this is much less than what they're doing, but the expectation provides something for us to really kind of hold the students accountable and build this culture of literacy that we're trying to instill across the school. So a couple of things we've included in our beginning of the year presentations to staff were articles to help them see the value, regardless if they're ELA teachers or not, see the value in being a model of a reader to the students. And we've passed out signs to all staff, whether it's maintenance, workers, or anywhere in the building, staff, administration. And they're displaying what they're reading. The nurse, Mrs. DeFutis, is displaying what she's reading to the students. So it's a conversation that every adult in this building can have with a student about reading and the value in reading. And we're really enjoying a lot of the feedback we've already got from adults in the building to share this connection with students.
So then the last part, as Mrs. Carr mentioned before, we are all teachers. We've been in the classroom a long time, and so it's been a change for us, and we want to keep that. We want to keep that going, getting into classrooms as much as we can. So that third goal that we've sort of set for ourselves is really making time to get into classrooms where, we each have an assigned grade level, but we're kind of being fluid about where we go each day and spend our time, and getting kind of a bird's eye view of what literacy teaching and learning looks like throughout the building. And I think we've already started thinking about, some of the vertical alignment we can do, things that we, when we were in our own classroom, we didn't get the benefit of seeing all that. So we're going to continue to work with teachers. We know we just got a text message earlier that, we need your help tomorrow. So it's great that teachers in the building have been really, really receptive to this work and very open to having us come in and support what they're doing. So we're very grateful for that. We're grateful for Mrs. Carr, Mrs. Callahan for supporting it, and I think it's going to be a really good year. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I will just add for them that I can never find them because they're always in classrooms, which is, I think they're kind of like, they feel like they have to tell me where they are because they're used to a teacher's schedule. I said, you'll get used to it. But they've done a lot of work. They've already done some co-teaching. I think we have teachers in the building who, for example, a social studies teacher who maybe has done a similar lesson for 6 or 7 years. Gretchen was in, and they ended up co-teaching it because there was an opportunity to do something a little bit different with what the kids were writing and how they were writing. So I think we're really excited about literacy across the curriculum throughout the school, whether it's in tech engineering or art class or in our content areas. So really excited so far with all the work that's happened, and they are very busy. And thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So along with our literacy intervention that we're able to provide, and that is one prong of what the literacy team is doing, we do have a math teacher who is able to provide math intervention to small groups. She's teaching 40, she may be teaching 60% now, but the point is that her schedule's opened up a little bit so that she can start to do some small group math interventions. We did some last year, but this will be a much more measured approach, and hopefully we are able to make some more inroads with students who are struggling in math. The way we are delivering our instrumental music instruction this year has changed a bit. Dave Dackwell is our band director, so along with that, he does stage band, which is an extracurricular. Stage band is for 6th graders, where they learn jazz. We also have a brass teacher who will be working 2 days a week. She will also be working with our jazz band. She is a former Northborough student, and she has taught for over 15 years in different schools. She is a brass musician and plays all of the brass instruments, so we're really excited that a brass specialist will be delivering brass lessons to our musicians. And then we also hired a percussionist who will work 1 day a week to work with our young percussionists. So instrumental music for grade 6, we have 2 band rehearsals per week, which is what we have always had. Each period, though, this year is 6 to 7 minutes longer, so they get a little bit longer rehearsals. And they get one sectional or lesson per week, which is what they have had in the past. Those are also a little bit longer because of our schedule change. Mr. Dackel will lead all band rehearsals in 6th grade, and he will teach sectionals for the woodwinds. That is his strength, although he can play anything. And our brass musician will teach sectionals to all of the students who play brass instruments, and our percussionist to all the kids who play drums. 7th and 8th grade, this year we have 3 band rehearsals rather than 2. So in the past, 7th and 8th grade bands were separate. Our numbers have gone down a little bit across the school in terms of our enrollment. So with that comes a little bit of a decrease in band enrollment. So we've combined 7th and 8th grade band, and in doing so, we're able to have 3 band rehearsals a week, which is really great. 1 sectional or lesson per week, which again is what we've had in the past. Again, each of those is a little bit longer because of our schedule change. And again, Mr. Dackwell leads the woodwind sectionals as well as the full band rehearsals, and then our brass musician teaches the 7th and 8th graders the brass sectionals, and then the same for the percussionist. So those are some of the bigger changes, and again, we're 5 days in. So far things are going really well, and we know this is a year of change, and we are looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you for your very detailed and thorough presentation. Do you want to have questions for that?
Actually, why don't we have questions?
In case
for-
there's any feedback or
Sure.
comments, questions? Joan?
Of course. This is right up my alley. Gosh, give me all excited. Can I come back in as a friend of literacy? I would just like to applaud you, first of all, for this presentation. I know the years that I've been on the board, I've always been asking for content area presentations, because we do it at the region, and I think it's very beneficial for us as school committee members and also for the parents, because a lot of them watch this on tape, and I think it just eases a lot of parents' mind to know what's going on, because you don't get sometimes all the facts back from the kids. But I think this is wonderful, and it also educates the other audience members, the voters in Northborough. So I really applaud you for putting this effort in, bringing both the literacy and the math into it and how the changes are. I just had 3 questions, okay? The question was, who is administering the QRI? Is it up to the 3 literacy specialists, or is it by the ELA teachers?
The literacy team will be doing that.
Good luck.
Yeah.
We've done some of it with 6th graders in the past, so I think there are a couple things at play. We know there's a need for more data collection at the middle school level, specifically in the areas of reading and writing, and so the 6th graders have been doing some of that over the years. So we've done a whole grade before, so we're confident that we can do 3 grades.
I only say good luck because of the time.
Yeah.
The time, but it's wonderful data that you get on the 2 types of questions that you ask, literal and inferential. How are you going to share this data with parents?
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so what we see with the intervention part of our approach is that students in...
Go to the mic so the audience at home can hear the explanation as well. Thank you.
Okay, so how do we share the data about the students' fluency and comprehension with the parents? So the first thing that we've addressed with this is that students who need intervention, who fall in our criteria of needing intervention, parents will receive a letter to them directly about what we are going to, how we're going to offer intervention, how it will maybe affect the student's schedule. And we also plan to invite them to a meeting with the literacy team if they have questions about the intervention. The ELA teachers will receive the data about their students that they can then use in conferencing and speaking to parents' concerns and things such as that.
Another follow-up. How often will you be doing these intervention, the QRI? Do you see that doing it 3 times a year or twice a year?
So we've started with setting a goal for 2, the beginning of the year and in the spring. I'm in contact with Megan Height from Trottier. She actually has an intervention model that we've done a lot of work to kind of learn from. And so with some of her input, that's the goal we set for this year.
Okay. And the last question I had was, you were talking about the one component that you're getting the literacy books, something from...
The NEF grant.
Okay, do those have a good amount in a source of nonfiction? Because it's been proven that the more nonfiction a student will read, the higher their reading skills and levels will become.
So the grant that we proposed, I put in item by item sets of Fontes and Pinnell books, but we haven't actually chosen the specific text sets yet, just the levels at which we plan to order books. So that's good. That's a good, good feedback.
And I think, too, we really want to get kids excited about reading. The research shows, and the literacy team shared with the whole staff a nice article about what happens to students when they get to middle school, how independent reading really falls off, and then by high school, kids get so busy. So we really want to instill in all kids a love of reading. And it's been pretty amazing in just 5 days to walk into classrooms where there's a flex block happening. Every kid is reading a book, really engaged in it. The teacher is engaged in it. So we're trying to get them excited, and we will use a variety of texts.
Well, the Fontes and Pinnell, their nonfiction is phenomenal that they have. So, but thank you very much. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. A lot of time, a lot of effort, but it's worth it. It really is. Thank you. And then one follow-up to Michelle, talking about the music program. I know at our combined meeting in June, there was a parent that came with a concern about, what was going on, and the student came up with a sheet with signatures on it, And I was wondering, I appreciate everything that you gave because it will answer the parents' questions, but is this being communicated to the to the parents of students with music and the Music Association of Parents?
That was communicated to all Melican Middle School families in early summer and then right before school started. And Greg and I did have a meeting with Music Association parent. So that's the communication that has taken place so far.
Thank you. And thank you for the follow-up to Greg and to the chairs also on that from the combined meeting. And thank you for your involvement in it. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
For clarification, was the NQI test? Is that
QRI?
The QRI test? Is that a screening test for all students or just students who have had interventions before?
All students.
All students. Okay. Thank you.
We are hoping also to help students who read really well challenge themselves as well when they're reading. So we want to get data on all students. We are also implementing a writing assessment as well. So we get data on all students in both reading and writing.
Thank you. Again, thank you, Michelle, for all that hard work you've put into that. We know the schedule's been a long process that you've been working on for quite a while, and I really do appreciate the presentation. It was very thorough and thoughtful and answered a lot of questions. Great. Thank you.
Lincoln Street School, we're off to a great start. It's hard to believe we've only been in session for 5 days because it does feel a lot longer than that. A huge thank you to our custodial staff for getting our building ready. It was gorgeous. It's such a pretty building, and it just looked great for the first day of school. So hats off to Mr. G and Miss Maria for that. I'd also like to thank our PTO who treated teachers to a beautiful luncheon on our first day back, and our second day back, a special thanks to Yeomans for visiting us with the ice cream truck as teachers prepared the classrooms. Again, it's hard to believe we've been in session only 5 days. The routines are in place, the systems are in place, the halls are alive again. It's great to see the kids practicing the routines and getting settled into the classroom. On the first day of school, we did welcome K parents and families, K students and families in for the K orientation, which was a huge success with the kids coming in, riding the school bus for the first time, and going over the logistics for the first day. And we did also have our first fire drill, so thank you to the Northborough Fire Department for that. We the kids were well prepared, the teachers were well prepared. We were out of the building in just over a minute, so that was a great success as well. And upcoming events, open house already, September 17th from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, which is an early release day for students as well. So we look forward to welcoming the kids and the families for a tour around the building.
Very similar at Z. Thank you both to the custodial staff and the teachers for coming in and getting the building ready. It looks great. Our PTO has also been very generous and helped out with our kindergarten orientation, as well as providing a lunch for staff during our professional development opening days. Just some updates on some of the things in the building. We had a great opening day. We had a nice outdoor flag ceremony. One of the students, actually my secretary, Mary Ann Bryant, did the pledge, and then one of the students sang the national anthem. Kindergarten orientation included the students' first bus ride, so that was really nice. And today we opened up with K-2 Expectations Assembly. So it was the first time that I have done that since I've been there, and the teachers were really asking for it, and there was great feedback today from both students and teachers. And then Friday we'll follow that up with a grade 3 to 5 grade span expectation assembly as well.
So I feel like I'm going to say mostly the same kinds of things with just a few different names, but again, Mr. Madler, Mr. Gerard, Mr. Bias did a fabulous job of getting the building ready and just gleaming, having it all clean and shiny for us. Teachers and staff were amazing at setting up classrooms and making new signs and things that would help students with routines. Kindergarten orientation, as always, is a pleasure to see all of our new families coming in, and children riding the school bus is a lot of fun. I love it when they say, well, my house is that way, my house is that way. It's pretty amazing to see how aware they are of where things are. We also started the year off with an all-school assembly. The PTO has been very generous and has also spent a great deal of time coming in and helping us with some new bulletin boards and displays for the school. And they've done an amazing job of helping with plantings and decorating out in front of the school. We had a nice banner and some balloons to welcome us back. We all have our open house, as Jennifer mentioned, coming up on the 17th. We enjoyed having Mr. Dackwell and Ms. Macara come in to do the band demonstration for 5th grade students. So they were entertained with some lively music on all kinds of different instruments that they can then select if they wish to participate and sign up for band. So that was pretty fun. We are, again this year, going to have some core words, and the first core word for the year is acceptance. So we will be talking with the students about how we are all unique and different, but we have many things that are the same, and that it is a lot of fun and beneficial to ourselves to not only accept, but to embrace and celebrate those differences and those similarities. That's it for now.
Many similar themes at Proctor. We had an excellent start. We welcomed a 3rd kindergarten class to our building, which was just wonderful. We have lots of new faces, both at the kindergarten level and in our upper grade levels. So it's so nice to have those students and their families add to our very diverse and warm community. So it's a pleasure having them. We're going to be welcoming back students tomorrow with the PTO with our Welcome Back Barbecue, which is always well attended. It's very fun. We're going to be hosting it inside this year. We're going to be using the gym in our cafeteria, so we're excited about that. We also launched the year with our theme for the year, which is Make Your Mark. And so I've been visiting classrooms and reading stories, and we've been doing activities in small settings around how can you make a positive impact on your classroom, your school community, your home life, and outside of Proctor. So we've been making a lot of connections to that and placing an emphasis on developing our classroom communities and school-wide communities. So students have been wonderful about that and reading with me and talking and setting goals for the school year. I want to thank our PTO, who's just been so supportive of us, and a lovely welcome back luncheon, as well as our custodial team, Mr. Dakota and Mr. Farley, and the teachers who spent weeks and weeks preparing for the return of students. So I wanted to thank them.
So our teachers, as regards professional learning of our educators during the summer, teachers have been very busy learning. In addition to, we had an example today of our American ELA teachers and the work that they have put in to make this happen. We've also had teachers, in addition to teaching in our summer programs, which we'll hear about very soon, they have been learning about socio-emotional learning, literacy, social studies, civics, social studies and civics to align to the new curriculum frameworks, music, world languages, world-class instructional design and assessment, English language development, just to name a few.
Well, this summer went by very quickly, and if I were to use a theme word, like some of the schools are using, it would probably be learning this summer. Because in addition to me being new in my position, we've also welcomed Caroline Willard, who was the regional financial coordinator. She has moved into a new position as the finance and operations administrator. And also this week, we welcomed a new team member, Michelle LeMay, to fill in for Caroline's position as the regional financial coordinator. So we have a lot of new faces in finance and new roles. We are also developing our team, and we've moved into, I guess, new old space through a generous donation by Synopsys. We were able to secure cubicles, and so we have moved the finance team together in the same office, but yet in nice new cubicles that give us the workspace that we all need, but yet we can all collaborate together. We've worked closely with Jason Little from the town to close out the fiscal year 19 budget and also to begin the process of the fiscal year 20 budget. And we look forward to continuing that work with the town as well as we go forward. Our first full payroll, our big payroll for the teachers, will hit bank accounts tomorrow. So employees are now using the web portal to obtain their pay stubs, which has created savings not only of time but also of energy and also of trees and paper. So I look forward to working with all of you and with the superintendent and with NASA in this coming year.
So for the upcoming school year, the district technology team will be working hard to manage and support devices and infrastructure so our students and teachers can seamlessly integrate technology into their classroom. Over the summer, a lot of planning took place, so we can be well prepared to help those teachers integrate technology into their lessons. One of our goals this year is to provide more opportunities for all students in the district to engage in coding, computational thinking, and STEM education experiences. Preparations are already in place to prepare special activities for the second annual Massachusetts STEM Week, which will take place October 21st to the 25th. It's a statewide effort to boost interest and awareness and ability for all learners to envision themselves in STEM education and employment opportunities. We also spent some time over the summer working on a system to help manage, evaluate, and streamline all of our online platforms that we use. Last spring, we were chosen to be part of a cohort of districts who are working to help provide Massachusetts schools with a trusted and scalable process to identify and procure high-quality instructional products. We're using a tool called Learn Platform to help us with this process. And as you know, schools pay a lot of money for online platforms, so it's important to measure usage and impact to figure out if it makes sense to continue to use and fund these digital resources. This platform will also help us manage and inform parents and teachers about student data privacy policies for online programs that are being used in the classroom.
So as Greg said, the last 15 years of my career have been at Woodward Elementary School. So I was really good at 7- and 8-year-olds. And now I've taken the dive into a broader span of students going up from kindergarten, pre-K through high school. So I'm excited for this adventure as the district wellness coordinator. It's only been a few months, but I'm learning a lot. As Becky said, learning seems to be the key word for all of us new people. And most recently, it's been about Triple E. But I actually feel like a little bit of a celebrity today. I was interviewed by the Harbinger editor about Triple E just this afternoon. But before Triple E, during the summer, I supported the nurses working in an extended school year program where the students from all the schools were housed at the high school in Finn. I was able to work with our electronic health record system provider to allow those nurses to have access to the students' electronic health records and the ability to electronically document for the students, which this was a huge change from the paper and pen that we did for the past forever. And this modification allowed for a smooth transition from the school, their home schools, to the summer school, and then back to their home schools again this fall. Also this summer, these bleed control kits were placed in all of the Northborough schools. They were given to us by the fire department, who wrote a grant for these kits and who will be providing training in the near future for all the nurses for that. The beginning of the school year, it's hard to believe it's only been 5 days. It's always busy for the nurses with all of the new students that have come into the Northborough School District this summer, and all of the paperwork, medical forms, physicals, medication orders, care plans, immunization records, and emergency plans. The paperwork just abounds. We're fortunate in our district to have 3 per diem nurses to support these bustling health offices. Just to give you a little snapshot, in the past 5 days in the Northborough schools, 5 Northborough schools, they've completed 123 hearing screenings, 164 vision exams, 77 growth exams. They've administered 123 medications in 5 days, performed 41 medical procedures, and evaluated 288 walk-in students unscheduled for illness, injury, and or social and emotional needs. All of this plus sorted through the mounds of paperwork. But I'm looking forward to a year of supporting our awesome school nurses and promoting health literacy and wellness in our community.
And for student support services, our education continues through the summer. We had a lot of activity going on for our Northborough students pre-K through grade 8, and we offered 16 programs and walk-in services for 160 students across 2 schools, Finn and Algonquin. What we did this year, this summer, was consolidate into 2 schools versus 4 schools from last summer, and that really helped with our resources and making sure we were efficiently providing services to our students. That seemed to work out very well. That means more classrooms and more work for our custodial staff, and we certainly thank them for all of their support, and Principal Ryan and Principal Walsh at both Finn and Algonquin for their attention to detail in the summer programming. We also sponsored a new volunteer program involving middle and high school students who earned community service participation, engaging in the social activities with our students in the summer program over the 5 weeks. With some students, we had approximately 56 volunteers, and some of them did volunteering for multiple weeks. And the areas that they volunteered in and led were sports, art, music, dance, and games. Thank you to Principal Carr and Principal Walsh for partnering with us to offer student leadership opportunities for these students and to provide inclusive learning environments for all of the participants. Special thanks goes out to our ESY coordinator, Helene Desjardins, who did a masterful job in scheduling our students and coordinating all our programs. The start of the school year, Deb Lemieux and Erica Matthew and I traveled the district during the first couple of days of school, offering support to our buildings and just seeing how in great shape the programs were and the students and the staff. It's been a wonderful start, as evidenced by those visits, and we're looking forward to a good school year.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who may not know, the summertime, at the end of the school year in the summertime is probably the busiest time of year in human resources. So in the short just about 6 weeks that I've been here, it's been absolutely amazing. The team of colleagues that I have and getting to know the principals and now getting to know all of the staff has been just energizing. I do want to say a special thank you to the newly formed HR team, Nina Wall, who is the HR administrator, and Elaine Chisholm, who is the personnel and communications coordinator. So behind the scenes, we have been onboarding a number of people. I'm pleased to share that I'd say about 98% of our vacancies are filled. We've got a few aide and I believe a cook position. But we've been really humming in the HR office and are really coming together as an HR team. So I'm very excited about that. I also want to share that as I'm entering, I'm also looking at things that we can look at from a short-term perspective and also from a strategic perspective and an impact that we can make in the district, such as looking at a strategic recruitment plan. So I'm keeping my eyes open to a lot of areas of opportunity. In addition to the onboarding and the hiring, on top of that, we have a number of lane changes when educators go from bachelor's to master's and into different lanes. So that has been happening, as well as a lot of tuition reimbursements have been coming through HR. So there's a lot of paperwork that we've been seeing. So again, I'm really excited about the connections. I'm looking around at the faces and people that I've worked with so far, and I'm looking at the principals and thinking, oh, you've hired so-and-so and another person. So I'm getting to know you from your hiring as well as on a personal level. Thank you.
Hello again. As I had said before, I'm Jen Suker, the Interim Director of English Language Education, and our department has also extended into the summer. We had a vibrant program this summer for Northborough and Southborough's English learners. I want to give a special thank you to Miss Souls. She opened up her building, Z School, for us and housed us very warmly. And I also want to thank the custodial staff at Z for having our spaces ready and working around us. The English learners from Northborough and Southborough entering grades 1 through 12 attended this summer program at Z School. There were a total of 51 students in attendance, with 26 of those being from Northborough, grades 1 through 8. In addition to the students, there were teachers, of course, education support professionals, a coordinator, and we had actually 4 bilingual student volunteers from Algonquin, 3 from Algonquin and 1 from Milliken. So that was really neat. The focus of this year's summer program was digital storytelling, which involves combining a form of digital media like images, voice narration, music, text, or motion to tell a story. To create these digital narrations, our English learners used Scratch, which is a programming language developed by the Lifelong Kindergarten Group at MIT. This digital storytelling provided the students with a unique opportunity to work simultaneously on both literacy skills and also computational thinking skills, because students had to formulate a premise for their story. They had to employ algorithmic and logical thinking as they wrote code to alter their setting to make characters interact, and even to sequence events in their plot. And finally, the students had to analyze their code, make sure that it worked as they wanted it to, and sometimes implement debugging solutions when it didn't. While at the summer program, students had plenty of unplugged opportunities as well. One unplugged opportunity was certainly sharing these stories, and another one was touring the robotics facilities at WPI, where they met with professors and engineering students. And as a true highlight, several of our English learners even got a chance to drive WPI's competition robot themselves. Overall, this summer's experience developed problem-solving skills in our students that are hopefully transferable to other aspects of their lives. I'm truly grateful for the hard work and the collaboration of our staff, our students, and families for making this year's program a success once again. And I look forward to providing you with an update on our Northborough's English learners later this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
So it always amazes me to hear all of the great things that have taken place over the summer and all the hard work that goes into launching a school year. And the truth be told, the business of education does not stop during the months of June, July, and August. So thank you. And I think one thing that I've really enjoyed over the summer is the sense of team and collaboration and the student-centered approach that the leadership and principals take toward their work. So it's greatly appreciated. So thank you.
So the next item of business on the agenda is the school bus transportation update.
So one important logistical component of starting a school year is transportation. So we spent a lot of time over the past many months trying to plan, map out, and think about it strategically to make it as efficient and effective as possible. In some regards, we were successful, in others we were not. We are revisiting the rollout to look at the stops that are still not running on time. We are working with some families who still have some safety concerns. Many of these logistical and safety concerns are part of the process to get to where we need to be in terms of transportation. But I also want to thank the community for their communication and their patience and their willingness to partner with us to make sure that kids get to school safely and on time, and kids get home safely and in a timely manner. I am pleased to report that the past 2 days there's been a significant improvement in the timing of buses arriving to school. We have 2 buses right now. We're looking at N17 at Peasley, and I believe a bus at Proctor. Did it arrive on time today?
Yes, it did.
Perfect. So just a couple of buses and logistical issues, and we're trying to work with parents around a couple of safety concerns. But again, I'd like to thank the team that has worked tirelessly over the past 5 days to sort things out and make it work.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is facilities update and annual tour.
So I just would like to also thank Tom Maidler and the facilities team for the hard work and effort that they put in over the summer months. We actually implemented a new cleaning protocol. So educators did an excellent job preparing their rooms so that they could be thoroughly cleaned. Mr. Maidler and his crew cleaned, I don't know how many square feet of building space. They scrubbed walls, they waxed, they cleaned in a very short window with a lot of student activity happening around them, and they were positive. And I'm excited to actually have people tour the buildings on September 16th at 6 o'clock, and we'll start at Melican. I did let John Kadare know so he could also invite advisory and the select board to join us. And there'll be an opportunity to show off a lot of the great work that took place over the summer. The luster might be off a little bit with students being in the buildings, but I think you can see the great work that has taken place. We also had some upgrades in terms of security and safety, and I'll have Julie speak to those.
So I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to our district technology managers, Andy Mariotti and TJ Karen, who really led the charge for all these projects. So earlier in the year, the school district filed for a warrant article in town meeting to enhance the security systems in Northborough K-8 schools. And that work included new telecommunication systems, public address systems, security card access or keyless entry, and interior and exterior camera installations. And we're happy to report that all of these projects were completed prior to the return of the students.
Yes.
Were there any proactive measures to prevent mold this season?
Yes, so the cleaning protocols were about preventing mold. So having teachers pack up their materials and belongings, making sure all paper and materials were off the walls, and then working collaboratively with Tom Maidler and his crew, making sure everything was washed and scrubbed down. We also made sure that we had cabinets opened so that there was maximum airflow. And also we did weekly checks. The principals did weekly checks as well as Mr. Maidler. And we also made sure our air systems were running throughout the summer so that there was maximum airflow. And we periodically changed the filters throughout the summer. So thankfully even, with all those measures, we did not have a mold event. So what a difference a year makes. And it was in the back of our minds as we launched the year, but thankfully it's been a very different year in terms of where we are today. And it's been, again, a lot of effort from teachers, facilities, principals, to ensure that our buildings opened on time.
I look forward to the tour. We're starting at Melican. What were the other schools we're gonna, did you mention what other schools?
Melican, and we're going to go to Lincoln Street.
Sounds great. Wonderful. All right. The next item on the agenda is the 2019-20 School Committee Subcommittee Liaison Assignments, which are in your packet. I did not get any feedback between the last committee meeting and this committee meeting, so this is probably drafted way back from June or May.
Yep.
We decided to table it in June because we wanted a fuller committee to be present to review the subcommittee assignments. So I will go ahead and open that up for any discussion and comment.
Do you want us to tell you new ones that we'd like to add on, or do you want us to write it down and hand it to you?
Either way, if you want to do it, we can take notes now and bring it back to central office, or you can email. Either way would work if you know, but if you need more time to think about it, we can do it whichever way is your preference.
I just like to say, I'd like to stay on the same committees that I had been on previous year, but I'd like to add, along with that, the mentor to the new members. And we're not doing the public relations, right? It says not applicable, we're not doing that one. And liaison to the K-12 World Language Study Group.
And I'd just like to add the school start time task force on here as well, so I'm our representative.
All right. That's for that.
I have a question. Is Mrs. Crest still doing the solar feasibility study group? Has there been work or anything? I know we didn't have
So it was
any updates or anything.
Quiet year last year, so
Yeah.
definitely reach out to Mrs. Crest and see if she's still interested in serving in that capacity. Our goal is to, relook at that again and try to heat things up and get that moving. So,
Yeah, I thought there was something going on last year, some kind of meeting or something.
we had a study.
A study, right,
and
the
we had a
feasibility.
plan moving forward. However, the company that we were working with, I'm not sure, they didn't respond to our inquiries. So we're now revisiting the plan and looking for other companies that might be able to do the work.
So, if I understand, are you removing your name from liaison to selectmen and senior
So
citizens?
I think what this represents is that since the chair is reelected in the fall, it was just kind of, these are usually historically the chair, and I think that's why I was put on them to begin with.
Okay.
So I think if it is historically the chair and no one else wants to volunteer, I'll more than happy go back on.
Okay.
Whichever ones there are. The only open one is I thought I would get an opening on policy development just to let any new members or any other members that hasn't done policy in a while, because I've been on that one for a while. I thought that one I
Okay.
could step back from just to give someone else an opportunity, because we usually have 3 people on that subcommittee. So that was the only one. And the other ones, I think it was just because that was historically what the chair just got signed up for. So I will.
Right, that was my question, because I think it's
Right.
very important, if you have the time,
Right.
is to work closely with the Board of Selectmen.
Right. I have no problem putting that back on there.
I can be added to policy.
Sure.
And I think a lot of us ended up going anyways to the operational, which I thought it worked out really well last year,
It did.
having.
So even though I think we all attended all the meetings,
I
we
think
don't
it's-
need our names here, or should we for formality reasons?
So we have in our policy alternates, so,
Okay.
but everyone is welcome to attend. But if the members who are assigned to the committee would be voting if they were
Okay.
present.
Okay.
I'm good where I'm at.
You're good?
Capital, budget,
Sounds great.
policy, curriculum.
And if no one else jumps up on capital, I can get back on that one as well.
You're doing, is there a technology working group? There, it looks like there's some blank ones. I don't know if the blank ones are because we don't need anyone there or we're looking for someone.
There is a study group that we are starting that is not on here, and that is a pre-K through 12 music study group. That is not listed on here, that will be looking for, representation from each of the school committees. And Rhoda will be leading that.
Music?
It's called pre-K through 12 Music Study Group.
Music study
And
group.
more information will be shared at the combined meeting about the
Yeah, that's
purpose of
right
the
up your
committee. So,
I would love to volunteer.
She plays an instrument.
Expertise, yeah.
We'll also need someone for the strategic planning.
Strategic planning, yes.
So we'll also need someone for the strategic planning committee, the reauthorizing of our plan.
I'll do that.
All right.
So is there anything else that we definitely need to do, or you said you're doing the start time working group, right? So that's-
I know these are optional. in this-
That's what, yeah.
That ties in with the curriculum almost a little bit.
It looks like we're in good shape. We'll forward all our notes on to
All right,
the
Cheryl
office and
will
we'll
put those together for us.
share them back out at the next committee meeting. Thank you. The next item of business on the agenda is the school safety update, which you briefly touched upon, but if there's anything else.
So, I mean, obviously, safety continues to be our top priority. Throughout the year, we conduct safety drills, including ALICE drills and evacuation drills, and we partner very closely with our police chief, Liver, and fire chief, Parente. I know some of the drills have already started, the evacuation drills. And this year also, we're partnering with Sandy Hook Promise organization, and we're launching the Say Something program. And that more information will be communicated about what that is over the next couple of months. We have a couple of meetings scheduled. Our first kickoff meeting is October 3rd. But the basics is just basically it's to teach middle and high school students how to recognize warning signs and prevent someone from harming themselves or others. And there is an anonymous tip line that is part of that tool. And that is free through the Sandy Hook Promise organization. So more information will follow in the next few weeks, months.
Great. So the next item on the agenda is the Northborough Master Plan update. Those meetings are still happening. They have one more meeting on September 19th for the steering committee to kind of round out the plan. It's been ongoing. The master plan, been working on it for probably about over a year now. So we're getting towards the end. So we have the meeting on the 19th, and then on October 24th, they're planning the presentation to the boards, the planning board, and then the public on October 24th in the library. So there's going to be, so I'll be coming down the pike soon, so.
I'd be very curious. I hope I can go to that one. I know there was conflicts of the previous group meetings and stuff, so.
So that's what's going on with that. All right. And so the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report to the committee, starting with the FY19 budget final.
So in your packet is the final FY19 end of year general fund expenditure report. I'd just like to thank the financial team and Becky for their great work finalizing the FY19 budget. It's no small feat. There's a lot of details and a lot of work. And the challenge is having one foot in one fiscal year and another launching a fiscal year. And they handled it very well and did an excellent job. So this time, we would need a vote to approve until audited.
I move that we approve until audited the final FY 2019 end-of-year general fund expenditure report, and also in Greg's report to the committee, he also talked that they ended with a balance of a 0.04%, which amounted in check of $8,777.10, and result that went back to the town. So that's always a plus for us, and I love the good auditing that goes back and forth, so thank you to the financial department, appreciate it.
Seconded.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor? Great, motion passes. Thank you.
So the next item is the September 2019 enrollments. It was a very busy summer enrolling students, and we were cautiously watching class size numbers rise and fall. We ended up with 29 more students than we had projected, and the winner in terms of enrolling the most students was actually kindergarten at Proctor School. Proctor School had 10 K students enroll over the summer, which required us to add a third kindergarten classroom at Proctor. Alana and her team quickly garnered space and found furniture and did what they needed to do. And that the funding for that third K classroom will come from tuition collection, increased tuition collection from having more students enrolled, and also from the operational budget. We projected having 79 full tuition K students, and we're now anticipating 111 full tuition K students, which should fund the majority of the K teacher's salary. So I just want to thank Alana and her team for being flexible and accommodating that K classroom. 10 out of our 24 elementary classrooms are at class size capacity and are capped. So it's important to note that our class size policy continues to be implemented successfully. And I think that I'd like to also thank Nancy Bissett and the central office team for taking on enrolling students and being the central registrar over the summer months. They do an amazing job in keeping track of the class size. So overall, again, an increase of 29 students from what we projected in June for our enrollment. So we're seeing an increase, not a decrease in enrollment.
Greg, when you say there's 29 more students, is that the numbers that we got from NESDEC projected?
I'd have to look at the NESDEC numbers. The 1,555 was what we ended with the end of June.
End of June.
Yeah, that was our June enrollment that we rolled.
It'd just be nice to know how we are with NESDEC numbers. Some communities are over the numbers, some are under, some are just okay. So I'd just like to know where we are with
I can take a look and get back to you.
Okay, thanks.
Lauren? Because there were so many more new students this year, did that impact the number of students who are not attending their neighborhood schools?
So we have 16 new students not attending their neighborhood schools. The 10 all kindergarten students are in their neighborhood schools. So we were fortunate that all 10 of the students that enrolled in kindergarten enrolled at Proctor School. So it was fortunate we were able to keep them in their neighborhood school and not implement our policy, because there is a cost to that, and that is transporting kids across the district and also not having students with their peer group, their neighborhood peer group. So 16 kids we added to redistricting in grades 1 through 5.
Because you had an extra third class of kindergarten in Proctor, did you have an extra classroom, or did some specialty teacher have to go like art on a cart or something like that?
No, we were able to make some strategic shifts in space, some minimal moves, and we were able to accommodate that classroom quite easily.
And how about the extra furniture that would be needed?
We were able to secure through my colleagues in the district. I put out, a call for help with it, and the other classroom, other schools had furniture, and everyone was very giving and generous. We ended up with more than we needed. We were very lucky.
I love the Yaya sisterhood.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Thank you.
So also in your packet is the FY20 monthly general fund expenditure report. So as of August 31st, 2019, And we use kind of last year's August report as a benchmark, and we are very similar in terms of where we were financially. Again, the financial department did an outstanding job launching fiscal year 20, and there are no significant variances at this time.
I move that we approve the monthly general fund expenditure report as of August 31st, 2019. as presented.
Great.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. What is the number that we use as a no significant variance from previous month? I know there's like a certain percentage, because this is like 6.77%, you know, so I'm just curious what.
It's,
I thought it was like 4
it's
before.
the total fund,
Yeah.
and it's 10% over the total fund.
Okay, so if it's within the 10%, it's no significant.
And we can write that, we'll add that to the reports that we have that as.
Oh, I mean, I was just curious.
Yeah. But it's nice to have it so we.
So we remember the, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
So in your packet is also the capital projects and improvement. This is where we left off in the FY20 budget process. I've had an initial conversation with Town Administrator John Cadera around projects that we're considering and collaborating with the town. In particular, we're looking at potentially some paving projects, either at Melican or at Peasley School. And I had an opportunity to actually visit both of the parking lots this morning early, and we'll have further conversation around what makes sense in terms of moving forward. And then this year, again, the major capital improvement was the security upgrade through the town warrant. So we're very thankful and fortunate to be able to do that. And now we have parity with our security systems in Northborough, at the region Algonquin, and also in Southborough. So more conversation as we move, as we enter into the budget process. In your packet is also, any questions? In your packet is also the FY21 budget goals. So these were our budget goals for FY20. So they're just for your reference. So as we have conversations around what our budget priorities for fiscal year 21, we have focus areas that will help drive the budget process. I don't know if it's the will of the committee to give this some thought and some time and bring this to the October meeting to
So day after
finalize.
distribution, and
Yeah.
then we'll review and come back prepared for more discussion at the next meeting. Joan?
Yeah, because I think the last bullet was just talking about to determine the feasibility of transitioning to a tuition-free kindergarten program. I think that some of that verbiage can be changed
Correct.
because we've
There'll be some
reworded.
wordsmithing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's I did not make a note that this year we were able to reduce tuition by $250 for kindergarten as we had planned.
Wow.
Through our kindergarten tuition-free plan model that we have. So that was something very positive and excited about moving forward with implementing tuition-free kindergarten in Northborough.
Congratulations.
In your packet is also the proposed budget calendar. I think the budget season starts July 1 and ends June 30th. I will note that John Cadera has already set the date for the financial trend monitoring meeting. So that is on our calendar. And we also have, again, our facilities tours on September 16th, and we'll be starting at Melican at 6 o'clock. And then at our October meeting, we'll have a conversation around budget priorities and budget goals.
Thank you so much. Great. The next item on the agenda is educational policy. We have none at this time. Policy development and distribution, none at this time. And next on the agenda, we have audience sharing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to share anything to the community?
Kristen Tejan is 6 Leland Ave. First, some of the ladies are still here, so I want to say how much I love the presentation and the idea of putting the books of what everyone's reading, the staff is reading up on the door. Probably going to steal that, I know faculty, so that was great, thank you. The issue I'm always here about is the 3-day kindergarten, right, full-day kindergarten. I now have 2 kids in the school system, another one waiting, and obviously another one on the way. So it's something that I'm very interested in. I do appreciate that there was a reduction. I got the letter saying that it was reduced $250 down from $3,250 to $3,000, which I did appreciate, and at least to show that we're moving in the right direction. Obviously, at that rate, last year's plan was a 3 to 5 year plan that was presented. This little one will be going into this building by the time we get free or almost at that point, and when we get to full-day kindergarten at that rate. So I was hoping there was more of a solid plan for the next 2 to 4 years to try and speed that up a little bit. The other question I had coming in was where that $3,000 goes. I was very fortunate where I work to be able to pick up extra classes to teach, despite the maternity leave upcoming. To be able to cover that $300,000 and make sure that it's in the bank, to be able to write the check to the superintendent's office. And I consider myself fortunate to be able to send my kids to a school, and I pay taxes to send my kids to a school that is so great. But I appreciate all the work that all of you put into that, because they do have a great time at school, even if reading is not my oldest favorite activity. So I would love to hear like a solid laid out plan by the end of the year. The budget, the goals for the budget did stand out to me, because you just addressed it, just needs to be updated, because it was the same budget goal as last year. And where, like I said, where that money goes. It sounded like a few minutes ago you were saying that it's almost $500,000 that the town will collect from parents like myself who are paying for kindergarten. And it sounds like that goes just to teachers' salaries, which seemed like that's a lot, but maybe that's how the math works for a full day. But I would love to hear like an outline of that, of where that's going, and to see where my $3,000 that I worked very hard for, and I know everyone in this room does as well, and has their own budgets and stuff, will go. I appreciate that. And thank you for keeping this in your mind and in the budget.
Thank you. All right. Any other audience members to share? Great, seeing none. Thank you so much for sharing this evening. We did go through pretty much everyone here in the back-to-school opening. If any committee members have anything to share.
I will share for the Northborough, Southborough Special Education Parent Advisory Council, the NSPAC. I don't think they made it into our packet about their calendar.
I have it right here.
Do you have it to distribute? I was going to say, because I know it was like she was doing it, so I made some copies just in case. Do you have enough? Would you guys like them? I've got a few more copies there. There for you guys. So it's the whole calendar. I won't go ahead and read it online, but maybe I'm sure it's posted on their website, and we can post it also for it. But the other thing I just wanted to mention about them is that they were awarded a $2,500 grant from NEF, and it is to assist the K-8 Northborough library. So each of them are getting $500 to their librarians. And the purpose of the grant is for understanding differences and disability awareness through the literature. And this $500 will allow each librarian school to update and improve the collection of books that they have on that information of the specific disabilities and the kids who have disabilities. The different characters will have the different disabilities, and we'll hope for it. And the books will be carefully selected by each school librarian, so they'll have the choice. So if they have a higher population of a certain disability or whatever, they'll have those types of books and to spread around. And all the teachers and staff will be able to utilize those books as well. So it's a great grant, and I'm very proud that they were able to apply for it, and the NEF grateful that they saw the need for it and they granted it. So that was great.
Thanks for sharing.
Joan?
I have something that I'd like to share, and it was an honor that one of our teachers had received. There were 2 teachers that were selected by former students that were freshmen at St. John's last year. And 2 of them, one was from Southborough, a charter school, and one was from Peasley School. It was Ms. Donay. And the freshman, as a parent of a former student, I get these seasonal updates, and I happened to be looking at it. And what the freshman class wanted to do was to write an essay about their teacher that had a good influence on them in middle school, and that they want to honor. And these teachers were then brought back to St. John's, and they had a tour of the campus, and then also to thank them for what they have done in their education. So I know we give many honors to teachers throughout so many different avenues, but I thought that was wonderful because we always hear about the things when our kids go up to Algonquin, but yes, we're very diverse. Our kids go to different high schools, private schools, but it was nice to see that our school, Northborough, Southborough, were recognized by 2 outstanding teachers, and I'm sure there's many more, but congratulations. And if you could tell Mrs. Donay what a wonderful experience that had to be for her.
To that, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Almost up. All right. Concludes our audience sharing. Unless you have anything else. And we'll go on to personnel items. We have a distribution of personnel report and new staff appointments.
So as Heather mentioned, it's been a very busy season of hiring and recruiting, and we've welcomed many outstanding educators to our team, which is very exciting.
The next item, we have communications. In our packet, we have Applefest, back to school newsletter, and as for our district read, letter of thanks, donation to Synopsis, distribution of our school committee dates, distribution of mass joint conference information, and distribution of our new general laws.
Can I just comment on, if you have already read the MGL 2019 edition, we'd love to have it back because principals find it very helpful. This is also online, so if you don't want it, we'll collect it back and make good use of it. And then I just want to also comment, this year, on the theme of literature and reading, we're doing 10 schools, 3 districts, 1 community of readers, and we're encouraging community members, parents, to read the text, The Gift of Failure, How the Best Parents Learn to Let Go So Their Children Can Succeed. And the author is Jessica Leahy. So we'll have 2 book talk sessions where people can come together and talk about the content of the book. And in March, we will be having the author come and speak and actually do some workshops with us. So this text is available in our public libraries as well in each of our schools as of tomorrow. We have to make sure we get the copies to you tomorrow. So it's a great way to engage with an important topic and connect with your fellow parents.
And on the Applefest.
Yes.
Parade.
So we have our
plans.
annual Applefest parade. This year we're going to try to have all the schools together and the school committee together. And that is on Sunday, September 22nd. And our theme is red and khaki. So
And do you have the banner?
we have the banner.
Famous banner.
So yes. So anyone who would like to join us, we will meet at Lincoln Street School prior to the parade. And Mary Ellen said we will be tossing apples this year, not candy, and for the new wellness policy.
Let's hope it's not 110
Yes,
degrees.
let's hope it's, yeah.
Again this year.
So.
Great.
Also, Becky mentioned the donation of Synopsys. We were very fortunate this summer to receive a call from Synopsys, which is a company out of Marlborough. They were relocating offices, and they called and asked if we wanted free office furniture. We were very fortunate to be able to redesign the financial department space to make it more collaborative. We also were given a brand new conference table for our central office conference room and chairs, as well as filing cabinets. So we were very fortunate. So when you enter central office and you look at the conference room, it's not new furniture, it's free furniture. And it was a very generous donation. And I would ask if anyone has anything they would like to donate in terms of companies. We're always willing to take a look and make good use of it. So we're very appreciative, and it's made the space far more comfortable and inviting. So.
Great. All right.
And the MASC conference registration, if you're interested in attending MASC, MASS joint conference, the packet is in your packet, and if you want to register, just let Cheryl know and she'll take care of the details. I highly encourage folks to attend. It's a great way to network and to learn together, and to have time to really talk about the work that we do as a school committee and in district.
I'll just say, I went to it last year and I thought it was amazing. I was only able to, when did I attend? I think I did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so I couldn't do the whole thing. But the days that I was able to go were great. This year, I'm trying to work it out, but I don't know. It's hard, with 2 kids and schedules and stuff, but I'd love to, in future years, maybe even make it a thing, like, even if we can all attend, like, one day to get something. Because the one thing that I didn't like about the conference last year is that there were so many great topics at the same time slot, you can't get everything. So if a group of us were to go and we could each attend, a different one and then collaborate with it, I think it would be really great. So something to maybe we can discuss about this year, and then maybe get it on the schedule next year. So I think it's always the first.
It is.
I don't know why they do Wednesday through Saturday. Yeah. Like, I wish they did it, like, even if they did it, like, Thursday through Sunday, like, at least it's, like, less, work, but.
Great. All right. So we have future agenda items. We'll have school improvement plans and PTO presentation schedule on the agenda. And we will have budget goals and budget calendar again. School committee sub-assignments revised.
So, go ahead, John.
Looking at, because we were always so booked, and seeing that there aren't any school presentations in January and February, I really loved the presentation on the literacy, the music, and the math tonight. And I was wondering, in January, February, just to, maybe something is the ELL program, ESL, making some kind of just K. I know you do it before combined, but, there's a lot of parents K to 5, make us just generic to what we're doing. If there could be a presentation on that as a suggestion. One on technology. I know you do a great job for the combined, but, a lot of parents are coming in with kids, and there's so much that we're talking about in literacy that we're using, and we're using it in math, we're using it in STEM. And then the other one, connecting with that, maybe would be the STEM. Because I think those are, the parents hear that acronym, and they're like, what is STEM? And I just try to write it down, and I got the science, technology, engineering, and math. Okay, so I was stuck on that. So I just think it might, not a real long one, but just something, because I know so many parents watch this presentation. It would help them to be educated and to facilitate a conversation when the kids are coming home. Because I think the kids are using the new lingo, and parents are like, what's STEM? Okay? Thanks.
All right. So the next thing is approvals of bills and payrolls, and then we need to go into an executive session. Do I read that first? to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining due to the chair's determination that discussion regarding this matter in open meeting may have detrimental effect on the position of the committee with no intent to return to open meeting.
So moved.
Seconded.
And this will be a roll call vote. Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
So our meeting's adjourned and moved into executive session. Thank you so much.